Hello everyone. Let me share a short story with all of you today. A tale about a real life event that has saved, changed and touched a soul. I hope it will touch your soul as well. This story is about Charles Plum. Charles Plum was a US Navy jet pilot in Vietnam. After 75 combat missions, his plane was shot down. He ejected from the plane and parachuted into the enemy's hands. He was captured, tortured and imprisoned and was put in an 8 by 8 foot cell for 6 years in a Vietnamese colonial prison camp as prisoner of war. The true story of Charles Plum, who packs a parachute, is a powerful and stimulating true life event which has been shared with people across the globe in various lectures and leadership programs. In fact, the story goes like this. One fine evening, Plum and his wife, they were sitting in a restaurant. One person adjacent who was sitting near to him came up and said, "Are you Mr. Plum?" He said, "Yes." "You are a jet pilot?" He said, "Yes." "You were the one who was fighting in the Vietnamese war in one of the aircraft and then your plane was shot down." He was surprised. "How the hell you know about it?" The man said, "I packed your parachute." Then subsequently, he asked him, "I hope it worked." Plum assured him that yes, of course it worked. That is why I am here. It was for his surprise when he thought about him and he came to know that he was a sailor in the Navy. The turning point is, that night Plum could not sleep and he was just thinking about the person whom he met that evening. He was thinking and wondering how he would have looked in a Navy uniform. How many times he would have seen him and how many times he did not even wish him good morning or asked him, "How are you?" It also made him think that how many hours he would have put in making the parachute and also how much efforts have gone in safeguarding or protecting the life of someone whom you never know. As Plum puts it, "I was a jet pilot and he was just a sailor." Friends, the former Navy fighter and prisoner of war Charles Plum is today a motivational speaker and travels across the world sharing his experience and coming through this adversity. Please watch him in this video.
Well, I think you have to pack some parachutes. Let me explain that. I sat down in a restaurant not so long ago, about 2 tables over. A guy kept looking at me. He stood up. He walked over to my table. He pointed at me and he said, "You're Captain Plum." I said, "Yes, sir. I'm Captain Plum." "You're that guy. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam. You're a fighter pilot, part of that Top Gun outfit, shot down off the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You parachuted into enemy hands. You spent 6 years as a prisoner of war." Somewhat dumbfounded, I looked up at this guy and I said, "How in the world did you know all that?" He chuckled and he smiled and he said, "Because I packed your parachute." Tell you this, with this guy that runs around the country making speeches, suddenly I was speechless. The best I could do was stagger to my feet, reach out a very grateful hand of thanks. He came up with just the proper words. The guy grabbed my hand, he pumped my arm, and he said, "I guess it worked." I said, "Indeed it did, my friend, and I must tell you I've said a lot of prayers of thanks for your nimble fingers, but I didn't realize I'd ever had the opportunity of expressing my gratitude in person." He said, "Were all the panels there?" I said, I must be honest with you, they weren't. Of the 18 panels I was supposed to have in that parachute, had only 15 good ones. 3 of the panels were torn, but it wasn't your fault. It was mine. I ejected from that F-4 Phantom jet at 600 knots close to the ground. That's what tore the panels in the parachute. I said, but let me ask you a question. Do you keep track of all the parachutes you pack? Do you know of all the lives you've saved? The guy said, no. This is the most important part of the conversation at night. Maybe the most important thing I say this morning. I think it deals directly with Premier Service. I think it deals directly with bringing dreams home. I think it deals directly with your job. Here's what he said. No, he said, I don't keep track of all the parachutes I pack. It's enough gratification for me just to know that I've served. Here's a sailor, well below the waterline of this aircraft carrier. The guy stands at a long wooden table and he weaves the shrouds and folds the silks of these parachutes, while jet jockey, the top gun, zooming around the sky at twice the speed of sound. I couldn't have cared less about the guy down there in the hole. Until one day, my parachute came along and he packed mine up for me. Isn't that what this business is about? Oh, we have to keep track, of course. We have to have the knowledge. We have to know the industry. We have to know the competition. And we have to keep all these things in our minds. But at the end of the day, your value to your customer, your value to your community, has to be measured in how well you serve. That's what this business is all about. So the question becomes, how's your parachute packing coming along? The prison cell I was in Vietnam was 8 feet long and 8 feet wide. I remember distinctly the dimensions of that little cell. I could pace 3 steps in one direction before I ran into a wall. Then I had the opportunity of turning around and pacing 3 steps the other way. I'm describing this scenario to you somewhat semi-dramatically. Please excuse the drama. In no way do I intend to endure sympathy from this crowd, but I think the most value I can be to you, professionally and personally, in the few minutes we're together, whether you come here from San Francisco or Boston or Toronto, whether you're a company guy or a franchisee, a manager or a mother, whether your goal in life is to change the world or to change a diaper, the most value I can be in the few minutes we're together is to invite you into my little cell. There's a great deal to be learned here. So for the next few moments, I'd like to ask you to try your best to smell the stench of that imaginary 2-gallon bucket over there in the corner I call my toilet. I'd like you to try to feel the baking heat of a tropical summer in a tin-roof prison cell 10,000 miles away from the good life. I'd like you to try to taste the salt in the corners of your mouth from the sweat and the tears and the blood. Not that you'll ever be prisoners of war, God forbid. But if I do my job this afternoon, you'll see where some of the same kinds of challenges you and I face daily with your sales associates, with the kids, in the office, at home, same challenge.
You will agree that everyone needs someone to be with you, to do something for you, to take your day. As Plum points out, that he needed a lot of parachutes when his plane was shot down in the enemy territory. He was talking about the physical parachute, mental parachute, emotional parachute, and the spiritual parachute. All these are needed to be in the safe territory as explained by him. Sometimes in life's challenges, we forget so many things which are very important. Many a times, we don't say hello, please, thank you, congratulate someone for something wonderful that has been done by him, or even compliment someone for reason or for no reason. The story of Charles Plum and his sailor who took him to safety always reminds me to stay close to the people who packs my parachute every day. Stay humble and be with them for all their support and care. So, who is packing your parachute? Who are the people, knowingly or unknowingly, noticeably or unnoticeably, supporting you in your everyday life? Who are the people who are advising you, caring you, encouraging you as you navigate through your life? When was the last time you really took time to recognize and appreciate them? Be kind to them, and most importantly, show your appreciation, gratitude, and thank them for all their support and the care they give to you. You never know who is packing your parachute right now. As you go through this day, this week, this month, this year, take time to recognize people who pack your parachutes. I felt I should share this story with you. Thank you for packing my parachute so far. See you soon.